All right, what's going on today, guys? Episode 8 of Grade Review. Really popping off this series. Hopefully, you guys are having a good day. How's Chad doing today? Halfway through the week. Hopefully, you guys are chilling. Definitely some really good grades or good submissions this last week. I was actually really surprised. There's some modern that was kind of coming through a little bit more than some vintage, but literally as I said that, we got hit with a wall of really cool high-end vintage, so super stoked to go through with some of that today. So again, for those of you who are coming in for the first time, this is Grade Review episode 8, where we review the community's cards live to see what they'd get for PSA. Obviously it's through the internet, so kind of take it with a grain of salt. We only have essentially one picture of both the front and the back, but we do our best, both myself and the community, weigh in on what the condition will be. I don't know if you have, Jared. I think if you look in the whatever I put as the reaction to your picture should indicate if I've looked at it or not, because honestly there's been a few Corocoros that have come in, so I honestly can't remember on the top of my head, but definitely check that out. So without further ado, we have, let's see, whose is this submission? This is Colossal. Colossal with some really cool cards, honestly. Super stoked. Along with Please Google Me, and then we got some others in the wing. So we got a lot of cards to go through today. Super pumped. Mine was going, I'm sure it was. I'm sure there's a big old crease in it. Not yet. We're actually just starting with Colossals right now. So we got we definitely have some Muse up on deck for sure. I'm just kind of looking through the grade review. Yeah, like the Gengar, the Korokoro, the Japanese Mew that's not the Korokoro. Hey Colossal, how's it going? So yeah, let's just get right into it. So Pikachu Delta species. Right off the bat, looking pretty clean. I always liked this kind of side set. Yeah, Colossal doing well. Pokey, welcome. Welcome. But yeah, I loved this side set to where they made the Pokemon different types before terrestrialization. So front looking actually really good. Centering looks good. No issues there. The big thing that I'm really seeing in terms of being impressed, was there a variation of this card? I think there was, Jared, to be honest. I don't know if it was a promo on the top of my head or not, but this card already is looking really nice. The nice thing about this card too is that Colossal actually put a picture in the submission to see a different angle of the holo. Because as of right now, which is another thing that I have is this little magnifying glass to help you guys kind of see what I'm seeing. There's really no edgeware. No corner damage, nothing on the Pikachu itself. Really the only thing I see from this angle is maybe this scratch right here, but honestly, super clean. So if we look at the side view now, this is really nice, right? So this is what allows us to look at any potential scratches at a different angle, and I honestly see none. I really don't see any, which is amazing. So kudos to you. Let's flip that back, and equally as strong on the back as well. So it looks like it's sitting on top of a sleeve, which is very smart if you're going to take a picture like this, especially how clean that front looks. Again, really no edgeware. The only thing that I probably see, and I'm actually going to measure it on the ruler, but now that I'm kind of looking at it a little bit more in depth, I was looking at the centering from the left to the right. And again, I'm literally using a ruler, putting it up against my monitor, and it's a fourth of an inch to the left and the right, and fourth of an inch top down too. So kudos to you. Centering looks really good. Really no edgeware. I see a few dots, maybe one right here in that top right. Got one here on the two on the bottom left. But all in all, for this Pikachu Delta species, looking really, really clean. So I'm first going to... Hey, Betty, how's it going? Nice to see you. So again, if you guys have not been a part of this before, I'm going to let the chat decide first on what you guys think this grade is going to be. So you should see a poll here in a few seconds. So it just should have started. So this is your chance to vote in the poll to see what you guys would think this Pikachu Delta species would get. So this is the front. That's another really good side picture of the holo itself. And that is the back. Super clean card, if I will say so myself. So super nice. So as you guys are voting, let me just catch up with chat here. I know, Betty, I was super impressed on how well this condition is. But yeah, Baze, if you want to put in your stuff, if you haven't already, definitely. And yeah, hopefully you guys are having a good Wednesday. Hopefully it's nice and chill. I've been looking forward to this for a pretty, for probably all week, to be honest. So Colossal is weighing in. There's a small scratch on the back left, unfortunately. So let's take a look. So back left. So I guess from my, again, that's kind of the pros and cons of this whole thing, right? The con is that, in addition, I mean, you included another picture, which is amazing. So far, I think you're the first person to do that, take multiple angles for the holo. But from my angle, unless this is the scratch, now that I'm kind of looking at it, it's right on that line. Yeah, it rides the edge of that border. I actually didn't see that. So that's another thing that's really nice if you guys do submit and you're kind of in the stream, to where you can kind of update us live as we're looking at this stuff. Because otherwise I wouldn't have really seen that, because that is so on the edge that I totally glanced over it. So thank you for pointing that out. So I apologize for those of you who wanted to probably change your answer. Let me end it and then restart it, to be honest, now that we know that. So the poll is active again, just in case if anyone wants to change their mind now that we see that a little bit more in depth. But all in all, though, what do we say, chat? I say it all the time. It's what do you guys think that have been here? The front looks amazing. The back's a little rough. It's a good binder card. That's right. Good binder card. But, okay. So, we are going to, let's see. So we're going to end it there. So we have 2 votes, 8 or higher, 1, 7, 6, 1, 5, or 4. So the majority, so the winning is 8 plus. So, hey, Civic, how's it going? So, my grade. So, this is what I like to do in my part. So, we're looking at the Pikachu Delta species. So, the front, centering looks really good. There's no obvious corner dings, no obvious edge wear. If we look on the side, there's really no scratches that come up or are apparent. The only one that I've seen so far is this one, very slight to the left of the Pikachu, but nothing bad. If we flip it over on the back, corners look good. There is some few whitening on the top right, as well as the bottom left. But now we see this newly discovered scratch on that left edge, which is going to take it down a few pegs. So, my assessment, based off of the front and the back, I would probably say, I'd probably be more conservative and probably say 7, only because the surface of this is now that I'm looking at it, and now that I see and notice this on that edge, it'll probably get a 7, because that's really the only thing that's kind of holding that back, in my opinion. But, again, if it's not as bad in person than it is in the picture now that I'm really seeing it, and I don't know if it's just because I'm drawn to it now, I'm probably thinking 7 just to be safe, but I think that this is still a really good card to get graded, regardless. So my assessment is going to be a 7, but very beautiful card, for sure. But, so on to the next one, Shining Celebi. This one, when I saw this, I was like, holy crap, that's sick. Jared, I love the optimism, man. Someone's got to be the beacon of hope, right? If it's you, by all means, take it. but the Shining Celebi. I think this is the first. Honestly, I think this is the first Shining that we've seen in grade review so far. Am I right? Or have we done a Shining before, chat? I don't think we have. Especially the Onion. The Flying Onion we haven't looked at. I don't even think either. So I think it's the first Celebi, and I think it's the first Shining. I'm pretty sure. But anyway, let's take a look. This one's... I think out of the shinies, honestly, this one is... I think this was my first shiny I ever pulled as a kid from the Neo set. And it was just so wild, because I didn't even know that they even existed. I was like, what on earth is this texture? So this one, that's why I was super stoked about this Shining Celebi. So let's take a look. So right off the bat, I'm going to measure the top and bottom. Because at first glance, that top looks a little chunky. But let's take a look. So it's a little over 1/4 inch. Let's take a look at the bottom. Yeah, so it's a little bit, but not bad. I would say it's fine. Left and right look fine. Man, you took really good care of these cards. I don't know where you got them from, all things considered. So the other thing that we have to be really careful of, right, is this texture. So this is one of the few textures, right, that is pretty hard to come up with scratches, especially the Shining Celebi, because it looks very dark. It's so hard to take a picture of this card in good lighting because of just how dark the Celebi looks in pictures and in the light. So it's really hard from time to time to get an assessment. I don't think that this is a scratch. That might be, but I want to say no, because I feel like that'd stand out more, this one right above her eye. So if Colossal, if you're here to confirm that, that'd be sweet. But I'm hesitant to say that that's a scratch. I'm not too sure. But the surface looks amazing. Okay, so the back, we are going to see some whitening here on the back. It is a small scratch? Yeah, okay. So Colossal just said in the chat that this is in fact a small scratch over the eye. But all in all, like, it's... I think, again, one category that we can't ignore, right, is that eye appeal. So it's not a huge scratch. It's not drawing my eye to it instantly. The only reason why I really even saw it was because of this magnifying tool. But let's see. Let's take a look in the back. So the back, we just have some mild whitening. Could be a lot worse, and now I'm kind of now I'm looking for those scratches on those edges. So we have some whitening on the top there, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 little white dots. We have some surface wear on that mid right. Have some whitening in that left corner. We have some dots that can probably be removed with a microfiber cloth if they are just dust particles or whatnot. But all in all, like, it is really impressive. I'm reading the chat right now, Colossal. It is really impressive how well you kept these in good condition. So kudos to you. At the end of it, kudos to you. So it's me. Welcome. So yeah, what do you guys think? Let's restart the poll. Poll is live. So what do you think the Flying Onion gets? AKA the Shining Celebi. Yeah, bravo, Colossal. Super cool. So that's the front of the Shining Celebi. We found the one scratch above the eye, and then on the back there's just some mild edge wear. The Wet Flying Lettuce. I feel like that's like a ska band name. The Wet Flying Lettuce. Or Joe and the Pork Loins. That would be another good ska, like, jam band name. And if anyone is looking for a band name, please feel free to take that. It's all yours. Alright, so... James, welcome. So we got some 7/6s. Civic with the optimism of 8 or higher. Ricardo, welcome. But yeah, honestly, not too bad. Got 7 out of 6. 7 out of 6 for the Celebi. Betty. I feel like you're gonna want to have mod removal just so you can vote. I think you bring it up enough. All right. So, what do I think this Shining Celebi would get? Again, centering super nice. Corners, edges on the front look really nice. The only thing that was discovered was this scratch above the eye, but other than that, no scratches on the background. Nothing stands out to me on the Celebi itself. So if we flip it over, it's really just the mild edge wear on the top, the corners of the top left and the bottom right, but the edges are really nice. The surfaces are really nice. So in my opinion, I think this Shining Celebi is a really strong 7, in my opinion, which is definitely not bad to get. But I think that would probably be a fair grade would be a PSA 7 for sure. But yeah, kudos to you. At the end of the day, chat, like the Pikachu Delta species and a Shining Celebi being in near mint, like just in general, is really, really good. So yeah, I hope for an 8, but PSA has been rough on vintage. Yeah, it's kind of hit or miss for sure, and that's what's kind of nice about doing this grade review, right? Is because it kind of gives an unbiased opinion from both like chat as well as myself. Because I obviously didn't get paid to look at your cards, right? So I'm just kind of seeing them as what I would get them graded or what I think they are. Because that's what I do for my own cards. When I submit mine to get graded, I kind of guess what I think they're gonna get. And then when they come back, I keep a log. I literally have a log book of how accurate I am with assessments. I'll have to update it. I haven't updated it since the last submission. But I think that'd be interesting to kind of go through that process too. Noise, welcome, and Awkward, welcome. So yeah, so thank you, Colossal. I think those were your only, I'm just looking at my notes. I think those are your only 2. But I definitely appreciate you submitting it. Those are super cool. Those are bangers. Nice. Thanks for liking the live. So as I prepare for, looks like Please Google Me's submission. So far, I definitely appreciate anyone that has liked or shared the live. It definitely means a lot. And if you haven't, I would really appreciate you doing so. Definitely helps me kind of advertise this content a little bit more. I just do these grade reviews for free, and I really like the engagement of talking with you in chat and just having a good time. So I definitely appreciate it regardless. And we are going to move on to the next one. Yeah, nice. It was a 7. It's really the scratch on the front eye here. And if we flip it over, you can kind of see some whitening on the back. I feel like I gotta make like a shirt or something that just says good binder card, because I've seen that a lot. This front looks amazing. This is a really good binder card, in my opinion. All right, so next up we have Please Google Me. Have some I think we have, and there's one more that I have to get queued up here. So this one is probably going to be pretty quick, because I will kind of give my 2 cents on Modern here in a second. But let's touch up on this Scyther first. So, centering's really good. One thing I will say that often plagues Jungle is silvering. I need a good binder card Shining Celebi. Well, you just saw one. Let's see. So the silvering, right? So Jungle is pretty notorious for having silvered edges. So for those of you who don't know why Jungle is more prone to silvering as well as Fossil, is when Wizards of the Coast was printing these cards, they did not care about replacing their cutters on the print line, right? So these things ended up getting super dull, super quick, just for the amount of volume that they needed to print. And as a result, when these cards were cut by these dulled blades, they would chip the front of the cardstock, which would in turn show this silver edge. So that's why if you see these silvering edges on Jungle and Fossil and some base set, it's because the blades of the cutting machine were starting to get dull and they just didn't want to replace them. So, but centering is really good. Other than the silvering, the edge wear looks pretty decent. Now, if we look at the hollow, we do see some scratches, I will say. So we have, but they're not too bad based off of the light that I can see. We have one there in the bottom left, 2 underneath the claw, or would you call this scythe? I think you call this scythe. Centering too much right. Let's take a look. I have a ruler that I will put it up. So the left is a 1/4 inch, and the right is also a 1/4 inch. So that's 50-50 there. And then 1/4 inch on the top, and a little bit more of a 1/4 inch on the bottom. It's almost 3/8. So the bottom is a little bit top heavy, but again, it's me literally putting a ruler on the monitor, so take it what you will. But there are some mild scratches on the hollow foil. The one thing that I will say, and I'm really trying to make sure it's not just crap on my monitor, right, is that there are some stains here. So you can kind of see a very slight orange stain here on the left, as well as right here. So there's 2 stains, so that's going to impact the surface. And so there also is a dirt spot in that bottom net between the weakness and resistance. So normally in this case, if these are stains, what I would do, and I've done this in past streams, is if you take a Q-tip and dip it in distilled water and essentially wring out the Q-tip until it's almost dry, but a little bit moist, almost like if you were to breathe in the back of your hand, you should be able to get that off if you're careful. So if you're careful, you can probably clean these off pretty good, which will improve the surface score. But anything more than that, I would be very hesitant to do. You might see like card wax. Me personally, I've been a pretty big advocate of not using card wax for multiple reasons. But I will not put anyone to sleep explaining it unless you want to know. So if we flip it over on the back, we're definitely going to take some hits here, right? So we see some dings on the top. There's essentially surface wear and corner dings all around this card. We got some weird substance there. I don't know what that is. But other than that, the surface, we do have something here on the P, but that's about it. Alex, welcome. But yeah, it's just really the edge wear, honestly. HV, I see your message. Just give me one quick second. When I start the poll, I'll answer that. But yeah, other than that, it's just really the edge wear of this back. So chat, there is the... Let me just clear these numbers real quick. So there is the front of the Scyther. There is the back. And let us put it to a vote. So the poll is live on your device. Hey, Luke, how's it going? We're just doing a grade review of the Scyther. Looks pretty good on the front, but the back, a little bit beat up, but, you know, it is what it is. HV, what products do you like using to take care of your cards if you do need to use them? I'm trying to understand that question. So if I'm using them, like if I'm playing with them, you mean? If you could specify. If you're talking about playing with them or collecting them, like I think the one answer that covers all of that would just be sleeves. Like Ultra Pro sleeves or like penny sleeves is a really cheap way of protecting your cards. Gavin, thanks so much for liking the live. I appreciate that. Austin, welcome. But yeah, it's kind of if you want to be a little bit more specific, I'll be able to answer your question a little bit better. All right, chat, what are we thinking? So we got majority vote says 5-4. I think you guys are not wrong. So what do I think? So Scyther from Jungle. So centering's pretty decent. Got some silvered edges on the left and the right. Do have some scratches on the left and the center. We also have some, what appears to be some stains in that top left, those 2 orange stains, as well as some specks on the bottom. And as we flip it over, we have multiple white dots and edge wear on both the edges and the corners. So we have some there that are pretty significant. They're almost like folding over. But no creases, which is good. It's really just surface wear and edge wear on both the front and the back. So if there was a crease, I would say it'd probably be a 4, but since there are no creases, I would probably say a 5 would be my guess. All right, so now let's see. Double sleeve on high-end cards. Use a inner sleeve in Ultra Pro. Yeah, honestly that's a pretty good call too, Jared. If you don't take out your cards out of your sleeves often enough, double sleeving is actually really good. You just have to be careful on how you store them and in what binder, because you don't want to put too much stuff on your cards. I saw this one video the other day of some dude like putting like trying to like put 8 sleeves on a card just to see if they can do it, and you could like barely see it. It looked like foggy. HV for helping improve grading wise. So I would say, so an improved grading, I could probably talk about that for an hour, but I would say for your card specifically, like coming into it for the first time, I would probably say invest in a Q-tip, some distilled water. I mean, that like a gallon of distilled water alone is like $1.50, right? I would say invest in a microfiber cloth to get some like weird stuff like fingerprints off your card. And invest in top loaders, sleeves. There's probably some other stuff I'm missing, but that's more of like the entry level stuff. When I do cleaning streams, I use a microscope. That I'm not using today, obviously, because I'm on my computer looking at these cards, but that's another thing to invest in. And I actually have an affiliate link now for the microscope that I use. That's in my description, at least it should be, or in the storefront, that if you buy through me, I get a little bit of a kickback and hopefully makes it a little bit cheaper for you as well. I saw it on sale not too long ago. So that's pretty cool. But that's a little bit bougie though. That's like if you do a lot of grading. Yeah, Betty, I was super excited. Did I even mention that last stream? I don't think I did. Yeah, I got an affiliate link for Tomlov, which is pretty cool. So James, I got a 99 base set Holo Charizard, never played, just put in a penny sleeve. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's as easy as that. Just put it in a penny sleeve, put it in a binder, don't take it out often, and you're chilling. All right, so this one's probably going to be pretty quick for these two, because these are just modern cards. So with modern cards, the two things that we're really looking for are centering and whitening. I know, Keith, I don't know why. I just didn't tell anyone. Because I think the reason why I haven't told anyone is because I haven't done a cleaning stream in a little bit. I am going to be doing one soon because I am going to be prepping a new submission for the show in May. That I'll actually be able to hey, when people say, hey, what are you using? It's, I'm using a Tomlov. Here's my affiliate link. But I just haven't done that in a while, so that's why I haven't really talked about it. But, okay, so for modern, the big things we're looking for are print lines, centering, and whitened edges or corners, because it's assumed that you didn't throw this down a flight of stairs the moment you opened it, right? It just makes it easier for everyone. So I would say right off the bat, the centering from right to left is a little bit thick to where I don't know if it'd get a 10. And if we flip it over, you also see some whitened spots, and I don't know what this is. I have no idea what that is. So if that's something that is like a dirt blemish already, that definitely needs to come off. I would imagine it probably can come off. Hey Mario, how's it going? This right here, if you can get that off, and some of these little white specks. So these white specks are common inside of a pack, right? So that white cardstock and that sits between the layers of the card, they're just like little fibers that kind of float around in the pack, right? So they'll get stuck on the back or the front. And you can just take a microfiber cloth, like I mentioned before. You can easily get that stuff off. It's not too bad. But this right here, these two white dots in the top right, unfortunately, that's going to probably prevent you from getting a 10. So in this case, I'd probably say a 9. You're looking pretty good. If it was a little bit more off-center, it'd probably be an 8. But that's what we're really looking for. So again, the same thing with the Squirtle, right? So centering is actually pretty good on this one. But that might be, I don't know if that's a print line right there or right here, or it might just be the reflection. I'm not too sure. But yeah, I don't know what this, there's some crud on your cards. I don't know what this is. But I'd probably say that would also be a 9 just from that as well. But yeah, again, it's just really centering that we really need to be concerned with. So now we are loading up Austin P's collection. Fernando, how's it going, man? We're just getting into some new submissions here. So as I'm kind of loading these up, are you guys, do you guys have any collection goals or anything that you're trying to strive for? I know that some people have some, I saw Steve Aoki's video not too long ago of him getting his grail with the Kangaskhan from the first, the family, it was like the family tournament. He got that, and then he got, what was the other one? I can't remember what it was. But that trophy Kangaskhan, oh, that artwork looks so nice. Yeah, I agree, Austin. There are some that are like super saturated and comes up a lot. Finishing Neo sets. God bless your wallet, Jared. It's gonna be, I feel like that's a very slippery slope. You get to Neo sets, and then you're gonna be looking for gold stars, and then it's all downhill from there. But hopefully you don't have too many. You said you had a Shining Celebi left, right? I'm pretty sure that's what you said. Right, Austin, that's what I'm saying. Hey, I never fault anyone for going towards their collection goals, but man, I wish you the best. Hockey, welcome. And again, thanks so much for anyone that has followed or liked and shared the live so far. I really do appreciate it. Hey, Willie, thanks so much for that. I really appreciate it. It's always nice to get feedback, to be quite honest, because it's like, on one hand, you know, I can really like observe and really break down the analytics of things. But it's always nice just to hear from you guys specifically. And if there's any way, I think that's why it's nice in the Discord too, where you guys are able to submit these cards for grade review. I know I'm open to suggestions too. Like, there's another segment I'm trying to introduce. We're going to be talking about the new Pokemon Pocket today. Super excited about talking about that. So just trying to, you know, provide as much as of my opinion to the community as possible without having a Patreon or expecting you guys to pay for it. So any good feedback I always appreciate, and I definitely appreciate the support. So thanks so much. Yeah, Willie, I think that was a pretty cool. I think it's a pretty cool concept, right? There's so many people that are like, hey, like, I don't want to spend $30 to see what I get. You know, can someone just look at this for 5 seconds without me having to pay someone a Patreon fee or a grading service fee? Like, why not just offer this for free to the community and give my insight, you know? So I appreciate the feedback. Let's see. Wheel and deal a lot. Yeah, exactly. That's all you need. It's just an idea. All right, so the Blastoise. So if you guys remember, we've already looked at a few Blastoise, but I'm just curious. So in the chat, is anyone able to tell me? I guess I feel like I'm like a teacher right now. Listen up, class. Spit your gum out and listen up. For those of you who remember the last time we looked at this, there was one specific error that we were looking for. Does anyone in chat know what error you should be looking for on a base set Blastoise? It's very sought after, for sure. That's right, Betty. Good job. The top right. So what are we looking for specifically in the top right? Jared said it, the stage error. So anytime you see a Blastoise from base set, you always want to look in the top right to see if stage is present or not. If it is, it's not an error. If it's not, so if it just says put Blastoise on the blank one card, it is a very valuable error, and you should pick up as soon as possible. There is also a red dot error as well. I can't remember where the location was. I think I made a video a while ago, and I can't even remember, but I think you're correct. There's also some ones that I hope someone submits at some point, which would be Hitmonlee and Haunter from Fossil, but that is another story for another day. So, Blastoise. I don't know how you guys keep these so damn clean. I really don't. You guys impress me all the time with this stuff. Because the edges, corners, and the hollow, like, unless someone else sees scratches on this hollow, I see 0, which is insane to me. So kudos to you on that. So, and I'm even gonna take one more glance over. It's almost like I want there to be scratches. Just because, like, now that I see these, it feels like I was just awful with them as a kid. Because mine were all beat. Like, I put mine in my pocket. I brought them on the playground. Like, I did not care. I think at one point, I'm not even kidding, I think I felt like I dumped all my bulk down a slide for whatever reason. And just, like, saw them all fly off the end. Couldn't tell you why I thought that was cool. Maybe because there was a bunch of Pidgeys and I wanted to see them literally fly. I have no idea, but they're all beat. So, let's take a look at the back. So, in the top left and top right, there are some whitening. You kind of see right here where I'm circling my mouse, as well as here in the top right and the top left. Have some white dots it can probably get rid of, so I'm not going to be too focused on that. Zora, welcome. Have some white specks on the bottom, have some on the bottom right. And this, to me, right here, what I'm circling, Lee, welcome. This looks like a ink, just like an ink defect. It's not, it doesn't add any additional value. It just, during the printing process, there just looked like an ink bubble or something like that that didn't put the blue hue on there. But all in all, a really clean Blastoise, aside from the whitened edges. So chat, you know the drill. There is the front of the Blastoise. There is the back. The poll is live. So put in your vote on what you think this almost immaculate Blastoise is going to get. It's down by the water symbol. Honestly, I think that kind of jogs some memories. I think you're right. I definitely think you're right. But then the other variant of this Blastoise that's super rare that came in, what was it? It wasn't even a structure deck. It was they're like play test decks for game stores when the game first was released. And there is one for Misty and one for Brock. And the one for Misty had the non-holo version of this card. So that's also, it's not an error, but it's the non-holo variant of this card that is pretty expensive, honestly, because it came in like a playtest deck to see if game stores wanted to buy into Pokemon. And I'm sure the ones that didn't are kicking themselves right now. Alright, looking at the poll, we need at least one more to swing it here. We got one that's 8 or higher and one that's 7 or 6. Someone's got to give me a swing vote here. Or just vote 5 or 4 and just meme me to death. There we go. I'll take a Civic. There we go. There we go. Got some 8s or higher. Perfect. All right. Chat grade. 8+. So, what do I think the Blastoise from base set will get? So first glance, centering is pretty good. A little bit bottom heavy at first glance. Corners and edges look really good. I only see one little silver dot, but that's not going to be too bad. But the holo is pretty immaculate. At this angle, I see 0 scratches. 0 scratches on the holo foil, 0 scratches on the Blastoise itself, 0 scratches on the text. So very impressive. So if we flip it on the back, this is where it's going to take most of the grade away. So I see in the top right, we have some whitened corners. Nothing really on the top besides some white specks that can probably be cleaned with a microfiber cloth. Have one on the top left, along with some white dots there. Have some on the left-hand side. Again, more dots that can probably be cleaned off. But all in all, extremely, extremely clean card. So, I would say that my assessment for this card would probably be... it's tough. I'm really like on the fence between a 7 or an 8, honestly. I would probably say... Oh, man. I want to say probably... This is tough. So normally if it's this tough for me, if it's a 7 or an 8, I like to be a little bit conservative and put 7, but hope for your best interest that it's an 8. So I think just to be safe, I would say 7. That's normally what I do. So I think that your Blastoise from base set would probably be a PSA 7, and chat thinks it'd be an 8+. But again, super clean Blastoise. Austin. Yeah, I think these are yours, Austin, if you're still in here. Because we just finished the Blastoise, and now we're on to the Pikachu. So again, Modern is pretty quick. Little bit right. And if you're just joining, Austin, I upload this VOD onto YouTube. I'll send you the link, so don't worry about if you missed the first part of that. So yeah, it doesn't look like it got thrown down some stairs, which is good. A little right heavy than the left, from what I can tell. And then we do have some, I don't know if that's part of the picture or how the picture was taken, or some whitening in that bottom left, but I'd probably say for this, probably be a 9. Yeah, Austin, feel free. Civic has sent, I can't even remember. I've lost count on how many Civic has sent. So definitely keep them coming for sure. We definitely appreciate it. Where do we watch old grade review vids? So Jared, if you go to my YouTube channel, it's just Galaxy Gaming TCG. There's also links that are in both the Discord, in the YouTube social media section, as well as my website. All that stuff is there. It's basically just the full VOD. That you can watch it. So when I finally get to your cards, you'll have the same thing, because yours is a little bit further down the list from what I'm looking at. If I can tell, hold on. Yeah, yours is a little bit down the list because I'm just hitting Austin's right now, and then I have Civic's submission, and then Bobby with the Ninetales, Civic again with a Suicune that he just picked up, and then yours with the Mew and the Gengar. But, alright. So, Dark Alakazam non-holo. Yeah, of course, Jared. And then, like I said, too, if you look at the reactions, all those reactions should have, like, a status of what the cards are. Let's see. So, the first thing that kind of sticks out to me... Beans, welcome. Top right seems it was cut weird to me. Honestly, I think it's more of the top... Oh, yeah, you said you corrected yourself. Top left. Yeah. So, I've seen that happen a few times right here, where it kind of looks weirdly cut. It doesn't look too bad. Like, it definitely... I definitely can kind of see it, but I don't think it should be bad enough. Like, when we flip it over, we'll probably know. But I'd say overall, centering looks pretty good. Edgeware looks good. There's only this, like, little weird... I don't know if that's part of the card art or something on the card. There's, like, a white speck by its foot. But other than that, it looks good. So let's flip it over. Yeah, so most of this is going to be relatively rough. Like, not too bad, but definitely not going to bake it a 7, that's for sure. Because it's just generic whitening on the edges, as well as this pretty significant gash on the left, I guess, if you can call it. I don't really call it a gash, but I guess more aggressive whitening is probably what it should have said. But Pokemon, welcome. But yeah, I'd say for this one, let's see. Back looks pretty rough. Front looks decent. I'd probably say for this one, I don't think it'd be a 7, but I don't think it would be a 5 unless there's, like, worse edgeware or surface area, like surface wear that I can't tell on the back. But a part of me wants to... Let's take a look on this left edge a little bit more, because that's pretty aggressive, as well as that. Yeah, I don't know if I'd get a 5 or not. I'd say if this is a nick or a ding out of the front, I'd probably say a 5. So I think just to be safe, I'd probably say 5 for this Alakazam. Gardner, welcome. All right, so next is the Mewtwo and Mew tag team promo. Jesse, welcome. As I get this one set up, as always, I appreciate everyone that has shared and liked the live and followed the live. I appreciate that very much. And if you guys want your cards graded on one of these grade review streams, if you just go to galaxiagamingtcg.com and go to the Discord, you will be able to submit into the grade review. And if you need instructions, if you go to the pinned video on my page, the title, the thumbnail should see a Mew, a Korokoro Mew, that says grade review and how to. So if you want to learn more, that's the easiest way to do it. So Poke, thanks so much for sharing the live. I appreciate that very much. So yeah, definitely appreciate it. And let's get into the next one. So Mewtwo and Mew GX tag team. That's a mouthful. Honestly, probably one of my favorite promos. I feel like I say that a lot. I just love promos. Like, some are really bad, but some are really good. And I think this one is one of the really good ones, because Mewtwo just looks pissed that Mew is just having the time of its life, and Mewtwo is just chilling there with its genes just destroyed. Have you ever seen this one, Betty? This one, I love this promo. This one's so funny to me. Just the Mewtwo is just not having it. All right, so front looks pretty good. Maybe a little top heavy on the compared to the bottom, but not too bad. I don't know if this is a bend or not, what I'm highlighting with my mouse. That might be, but I don't think so. And if I flip it, it honestly kind of matches. Well, no, because that would, so this would be on, so if I flipped it, that'd be more over here. Because if you flip it, or no. Yeah, I'm right. So if we zoom in a little, that's way too much. Let's zoom in on this card a little bit. So yeah, it's really the back that's going to take this one for sure. Those are the good old days, right, Jared? Where you could just open these up like nothing. Do have some whitening there on the top left. Have some on the right. Edges are pretty rough, I'm not going to lie to you. Some scratches there. Some dings on the bottom. Some pretty significant edge wear on the bottom right too. And some weird surface stains. Again, you can probably clean these off with a Q-tip and distilled water. JB, welcome. But all in all, it's just the obvious stuff. The edge wear, the dings, the back looks worse than the front from what we can tell. But yeah, let's see what chat thinks. Poll is live for chat. Mewtwo and Mew GX. There is the front, and there is the back. So if you want to put in your poll or your vote now. But yeah, Jared, I think one of the promos that I've currently been having my eyes on are the Umbreon and Espeon tag teams. So what is it? The Darkrai Umbreon and the Deoxys Espeon. Those are two promos that I have definitely had my eye on. They're relatively inexpensive for how old they are. I think they are, I have an Umbreon right here, I'm looking at it. So the Umbreon 2020. So 2020, around that kind of peak of COVID. So when the boom was kind of pretty high. And it's an Umbreon. The artwork looks amazing. So that's another promo that I would definitely look into to getting. I feel like it's almost like a penny stock, or that's just pretty inexpensive. And the card just looks sick. Both of them do, the Espeon and the Umbreon. The big collection boxes there. And yeah, with the jumbo cards, yep. The Garchomp and Giratina. Honestly, I don't think I've ever seen that one, Civic, to be honest. I'll have to take a look. Alright, chat thinks 7-6. So what do I think? So Mewtwo and Mew GX tag team. So a little top heavy, not too bad though. Corners and edges look good. If we flip it over, this is really where it's kind of taking it away. We have some dings on the top, have some whitened edges on the top right, some top left, some surface wear on that left edge, some frayed edges in the bottom left corner, some scratches on the surface, some more edge wear, and then some weird dust or debris particles that can be cleaned with a Q-tip and distilled water. But this one is really kind of what's taking it back for me, to be honest. So I'd say in the current condition that it's in, if you can't clean these blemishes, I would say it's a 5. If you can, it would probably... I'd honestly still say a 5, just because this surface wear is pretty aggressive, to be honest. But the front might save it to make it a 6. I don't really know. It's kind of tough. Again, it's kind of that 6 to 5 where it's a close call for me. So I'd be more comfortable saying 5, in my opinion. So my grade would be a 5, and chat grade would be a 7 or 6. Yeah, tag teams are awesome, Betty. I love the tag teams. All right, Civic. I'm sure you're going to send me something. Yeah, tag teams are awesome. That was such a cool... That was like in my opinion, that was the really unique step forward that Pokemon was starting to take with alternate arts. It's like, oh, like, what would happen if these two Pokemon just hung out or were in a team together? I really like how they show off that dynamic. I think it's really cool. So let's see. I just picked one of my favorite tag teams, a Raichu. Oh, that one's so sick. Yeah, where they're like surfing. Oh, that one's so nice. That's cool. Do you guys, I guess chat as a whole, do you guys go to trade nights? I think that's a cool idea, trade nights. And it's honestly really cool if you do it at an LGS that allows it, because there are certain LGSs that, for whatever reason, see it as a threat to their business for whatever reason, because they're like not making sales as much as they could. But it just encourages like a nice safe space to do trade nights. But oh, you bought the 3 baby Pokemon, Betty? That one I really like, to be honest. Yeah, trade arts are nice. Trade arts are fun. They're a really good time. All right, so Austin, I think that's it for you. Yeah, that's it. Awesome. So thanks so much, Austin, for that. Now we are going to queue up Civics again. Not complaining, but we do have a Charizard Delta species that I'm definitely going to use as a clickbait. Okay, let's see. JT, welcome. But it's crazy. You guys have like just so many cards. And then you have one, I think you said, that has a bunch of swirls on it. The Kyogre, which is cool. Oh, I already see one of them. Yeah, this lineup is insane. And then if someone is talking to me in chat, just give me 1 second. I'm just getting Civics queued up here. As you can tell, there are definitely a lot. Let's see. I'll be good right there. Cool. All right. So before I start, I'll catch up with chat here. Jared, we have 4 LGSs in our area that work together and have one every weekend. That's awesome. It's cool that you have LGSs that don't find each other to be threatening competition. Because I really think anyone, this is my really, like, I will die on this hill, is that anyone that is brave enough to start an LGS is good in my book. I mean, there's obviously some that are really bad. Like, there's one that's like currently floating around like the Pokemon community of a store that bought out a Costco of like the 151, or like, and bragging about it. It's kind of like, kind of weird. But for the most part, anyone that is brave enough to start an LGS with how predominant online stores are that's awesome. Okay, Austin. Yes, sir. About to drop some more in the Discord. Something really... I got some. That's awesome. Yeah, for sure, Austin. It's free, so definitely take advantage of it. Yeah, it's just weird. I don't know why he'd brag about it. And then like the really weird thing that they tried doing, like as like a clapback, was that they're saying, oh, well, you know, we're helping out people who can't afford Costco memberships. It's like, dude, like you're literally clearing out an entire Costco of Pokemon product. Like, it's just like, that's one of the topics that I'm going to talk about in a recon report in the future, is my thoughts on people seeing modern product as an investment and why I don't think it's going to return as much as people are expecting it to, because it's hard for most people to differentiate between gambling and investing. But that is another discussion for another day. I could literally talk about that for a year. Yeah, it's so weird. Kyrie, thanks so much for liking the live. I appreciate that. And yeah, so before we get into it, definitely, again, appreciate the likes, appreciate the shares. If you guys like this stuff, and if you're not following, make sure to do so. I try to do this at least once a week on Wednesdays. It seems like the good day for everyone, so I start it normally around 7 o'clock Eastern. And right now we're just doing grade review. We do a lot more stuff too, but this one seems to be the most fun, so I definitely appreciate it. But yeah, it's just weird. It's weird to brag about that type of stuff. I don't know. You're like trying to say that you're fostering community, yet you're clearing out a Costco. Like, what are you on about? Anyway, Charizard Delta species. Really cool card. Mark, welcome. And the nice thing is that Civic, this is Civic submission, so he can kind of help us highlight some questionable parts of the card if any do come up. But the front of this looks pretty good, in my opinion. Because the only tough thing, because since this is a combination of, what is that, steel and electric, the steel texture makes it a bit tougher to know whether or not these edges have stains or damage to them. So I'm going to say in most cases, these are probably going to be okay. But unless it's really obvious, but we'll take a look. But no obvious scratches on the Charizard. Super impressive. No edge wear, no centering issues from what I can tell. So let's take a look on the back. Let's see. So as we flip it over, centering looks pretty decent. Have some whitening on the top right. Do have some edge wear stuff. Not too bad. Bottom left, have some. Bottom right, have some. Have some meaning just whitening or edge wear. And then just some surface wear and scratches. Kyrie, welcome. But all in all, just aside from the edges having some mild surface wear, not too bad. So let's take a vote for chat. So what do you guys think the Charizard Delta species is going to get? So the poll should be active. It's got a small binder dent. You'll have to point it out. I can't really see it on the picture. Okay. Austin, quick question. I saw someone saying something about an error when my Blastoise was up. What was it? So the error for Blastoise is the stage error. So yours did not have the error, but for Blastoise base set, if it's missing the stage and where it says put this on a stage 1 Pokemon or on top of it, it's missing the stage. So that's a pretty sought after error. So that's always something we like to look for when we see Blastoise base set come up. Left middle front or middle right. Yeah, it's pretty tough for us to see. But I'll take your word for it. All right, so in the poll, again, the poll should be live. So we have 1 vote for 8 or higher. And we have Poke saying 7. So we're somewhat tied. So I'll probably say, just to make it easier for the viewer, probably say 8 to 7 for chat. It is nice, Civic. It is nice. And I bet you can predict what I'm about to say with that comment. Okay. So what do I think the Charizard Delta species will get? Centering, really good. Edgeware on the front, practically non-existent. I don't see any. No significant scratches on the front of the Zard, which is really good. So yeah, let's just flip it over. And from here, we just see some mild edgeware, some mild corner dings. Not too bad. But I would say, all in all, the surface wear isn't as bad. There is some that is present, but not too bad. So, because of how well the corners and edges are, I'd probably say a 7 would be my grade. So my grade for the Charizard Delta species would be a 7, and then chat would be 8 to 7. But yeah, not bad. But yeah, I would say, Civic, I would say if that binder dent that you're talking about is pretty apparent, I'd probably knock it down a grade. So like if it is present, I'd probably say a 6. But if it's really bad, I'd probably say like a 4 or 3, because that's what my Erika's Ivysaur got. Problematic. Thanks so much for sharing the live. I appreciate that. Thanks so much. All right, on to the next one. Rayquaza Delta species. Ooh, chat. Ooh, ah. We're getting crazy now. Getting crazy on a Wednesday. Poke, eventually I'd like to know your opinion on the card conditioner. Are you talking about the card wax? Because boy, I could go in on some card wax. Betty, are you really Winton? Are you really Overwatch Winston memeing me right now? Is that what's actually happening? Winton. Okay. So, Rayquaza. Yeah, so, Poke, when we do the poll, just remind me again. And I'll definitely touch base on it for sure. It's just Winton. Okay. Keep me on track, guys. Stop memeing me to death, alright? Rayquaza Delta species needs to be reviewed, or else Civic is going to leave the channel, leave the server forever, and never come back. For his sake, I have to do this, alright? So Rayquaza Delta species. Really good looking card. Same exact thing about the Charizard, I would say. Joe, thanks so much for the like. I appreciate that. Edgeware looks good. The only thing I see, I don't know, again, I don't know if it's because of the steel typing or what, but Civic, if you can look at this and that kind of like middle left edge, I don't know if those are scratches or not, or if that's just part of that like silver steel hue that's present on the edge. I want to say that's part of the art, would be my guess. But what the heck? Welcome. Rayquaza itself. There is a scratch by the tail. Not too bad, though. Not too bad. Let's see. Front surface looks pretty good. Gabrielle, welcome. Scratched up on the lower edges. Okay. Yeah, so if this lower edge is scratches, it's definitely going to take some back for sure. So let's take a look on the back. Better edgeware than the Charizard, for sure. We have one dot here on the top center. Have a dot on the left center, along with some surface wear. How long am I streaming today? I'll probably stream until probably 9 or 10, depending on how good I'm feeling, how good the vibes are. But chat's vibes are always good, so we'll see. Got some corners in the bottom left. So 1, 2. Bottom right is 1, 2. But the surface actually a lot better than the Charizard. in my honest opinion. So not too bad. All right, chat. What are we thinking? Poll is live on the Rayquaza Delta species. There's the front. There is the back. I hear it. Sometimes, Civic, that's actually a good point. Sometimes, like, you kind of have to set aside, you know, like, riding whatever TCG player says. Like, sometimes, like, if a card is there and you don't see it often and you have to pay a little bit extra, rather just pay the little bit extra just to have it and never have to worry about it again. So I've done the same thing. I definitely have done the same thing. So I don't see a problem with that at all, in my honest opinion. Okay. So Pokey, you asked me what my opinion is on card wax. And for those of you who have heard this ad nauseum, I apologize. But I'm about to say it again because I think it's super important. I think the shorter answer, I'm going to give you the shorter answer of what I think it's good for. If you have personal cards that you never intend on selling or never intend on grading, if you want it for your personal collection and you just keep it for yourself, I think it's a great product. I have childhood cards that are beat that I think would be cool to polish up and make just look nicer in my display or my binder that I would never sell or trade. Besides that, I think you are doing yourself a disservice and you're putting yourself at a very high risk. Why do I say that you're putting yourself at a high risk? I'm going to give you two scenarios. Scenario one is you submit it to PSA, CGC, Beckett. If they ever catch you doing that, they are going to first say that you altered the card and not grade it. Second, they're most likely going to prevent you from ever grading with them again because you're trying to submit altered cards. And that's just not good for you. And with that being said, you'll just never be able to grade again because you'll just be so used to using card wax to fill in these scratches. The second one is if you try to sell a card to someone saying that it's now near mint because you used card wax on it. So the scenario I like to paint for that is flip it reverse. Let's say that you go into your LGS and see this Rayquaza Delta species, and they are listing it at the price that you would see a near mint copy on TCG Player going for. You ask them, hey, I'd like you to take that out of the case so I can look at it further. They say, sure, Johnny, here's the really good near mint Rayquaza Delta species. You look at it and you notice that there's a residue or something filling in those cracks that make you question if it's really near mint. So if you were trying to buy a near mint card and you saw some residue or something that that was showing evidence of cards being repaired or altered, would you actually consider that near mint or not? Me personally, and again, this is opinion that probably differs for a lot of people. For me personally, I would not consider that near mint because I would know that someone tried to alter this card. So the other part too is if I knew that the LGS was selling that card as, repaired or altered, I'm going to now question every single card that they sell for the rest of the time that they're a business. And that's not a good reputation to have. And I will say that to everyone. I'll tell all my friends, like, hey, I saw this altered card. They'll think the same thing. So that's my take on card wax. I have now stepped down from my soapbox and I will continue with the stream. DJ, any Gengar alt arts for sale? Fortunately, I do not. I did have a one from Fusion Strike, PSA 10, probably like 6 months ago. That's probably the last time I've had an alt art, but not currently. I do have a show coming up in May, so if I do find some, I'll definitely pick some up and let you know. So if you're not following the TikTok self plug here, self promote, I will definitely let people know in my price review videos that I make, or like my list it videos. Yeah, so that's kind of my 2 cents, Poke. And look at that, you didn't have to buy a $20 a month Patreon for me to just give you my 2 cents. Look at that. All right. Exactly, OP. Yeah, it's there's a lot of interesting takes out there. I will say that. I'd say probably if you guys really want a good laugh, again, kind of self-promotion, kind of not, is the one video I made about the One Ring that Post Malone bought, rated as a PSA 9, and explaining why it got a 9. Instead of, guys, I don't know if I'm venting too much, but there are an unbelievable amount of people who think that the One Ring should have got a 10 because it was the only one printed. So there are a lot of people who think that just because there was one printed, it should have automatically got a 10. So the response that I always have is, if someone bent that card in half, since it's the only one printed, should it get a 10 if the person bent it in half? The answer is, drum roll please, no, it should not get a 10. So if it got a 9, it's fine, because it just was in a pack. So anyway, I digress. It's a really funny video. If you want to go to my YouTube, there's a lot of interesting comments in there. If you want just a good laugh, in my opinion. All right. So chat said, I'm thinking probably like 8 to 7. So I'll keep the chat grade the same. And I'll catch up on chat. I just want to keep moving. There's a lot of guys. If you could see my tabs right now, there is so much that I got to go through, and I'm just over here yapping my gums off. Okay. So what do I think the Rayquaza Delta species will get? So centering looking pretty good. Edges equally looking good. I've only seen 2 scratches so far on the Rayquaza. One on the tail and possibly a print line by the tail, but nothing too bad. And as we flip it over, we do have some whitening. So whitening on the top, whitening on the middle left, some in the bottom left, bottom right, and middle right. So there is some pretty significant whitening scattered around, but not to the point where it's too overwhelming. So I think in this case, with the condition that this Rayquaza is in, one thing I will probably also mention is that these are also scratches from what Civic said. So if these are actually as aggressive as I see them on stream, I would probably say a 6. But if they're not as bad as what I see on stream, it'd probably be a 7. So take that what you will. If these aren't that bad, say a 7. If they are as bad as what they seem, it'd probably be a 6. So look at that, chat. We made it through. Gotcha, Civic. All right. Let's see. OP. Now I'm catching up on chat. Crazy how few people understand that they're... yeah, said that one. Might buy a ruler of the Black Flame booster box off you. Yeah, for sure, Austin. Yeah, exactly, OP. I don't know why people think, like, if one of one, then you can, like, throw it in a wood chipper and it'll get a 10 because it's the only one made. It made no sense to me. Yeah, Jared, it was interesting, right? Because Beckett was really the only one that had, like, a bounty for the card, which was really interesting. Because they were gonna pamper him and whatever. But I also understand too, like, it really just kind of boils down to whether or not you want to be more anonymous or not. Almost like if you won the lottery, right? Because Beckett on one hand is more of like, hey, we'll kind of give you like the life of luxury for a moment. But if they didn't really want that attention, I can kind of see why they didn't go with Beckett. But me personally, I would have loved to be Wine and Dine and get the special, because they had made like a special label too, didn't they? Like, because I think it was all in Elvish too, like etched in Elvish. All right, so the Kyogre and Groudon. So for those of you who have never seen these, again, this was made in 2010. I was still in high school in 2010, which is crazy to think about. And it's crazy to think about that I wish I was still in Pokemon back in 2010. Definitely do. But yeah, so for those of you who have never seen Legend cards, these are cards that are actually put together that make a picture. So Groudon would be on this side where I'm kind of fidgeting my mouse. But in this card, Kyogre is the center of attention. So let us take a look at the Kyogre. So this one's going to be really interesting, right? Because obviously the card is meant to be put together. Hey, 2010, that's 13 years ago. That's it. That's, you know, it's you know, to each their own, I guess. Blissful, to each their own. So obviously the edge or the centering is going to be difficult on these cards, right? Because the whole right side is completely missing. I hear you. Hey, Blissful, just if it makes you feel any better, my first Pokemon game that I ever played was blue and red. So I am as like, listen, I get it. Okay. But the top and bottom are actually pretty decent. Surface looks good. I know you sent some other pictures. I graduated in 82. Hey, note, this is a judgment-free zone. All right. All I'm saying is that 2010 was 13 years ago, and it's and not to get sidetracked. How I like to measure, for whatever, I don't know if it's just me or whatever, but how I like to measure time. So like when I think of 12 years, I think, oh, that's me basically starting elementary school and going all the way through senior year. Like that's how I kind of like measure time, weirdly enough. So like when I hear like 13 years ago, it's like, oh, I just started at first grade, went all the way, graduated high school, and now I'm in my first year of college. That's kind of like whatever reason. I don't know why I think about it like that, but if I measure time like that, that's what I think is old. Every 10 years is a lifetime. I'm telling you. All right, so this is the back. Dustin, it really depends on how aggressive the print line is. If you haven't, so what I would do, if you haven't already, is check out our Discord. You can find it if you go to the website pinned to this profile, just go to galaxiagamingtcg.com and click on the Discord link. You can then go into the grade review section and then submit your cards to be reviewed on the live stream. So I can definitely take a look on a live stream for sure. Because I think it really depends. There's some print lines that aren't as bad, but there are some that are very aggressive, so it's kind of hard to tell. Dustin, thanks so much for following the live. I appreciate that. Yeah, exactly. That goes for anyone. So real quick, if you are coming here for the first time, and Dustin, thanks so much for liking the live. Appreciate it. If you ever want cards assessed live, it's totally free. All you have to do is, I would say that the easiest way that you can figure out how to do this is I have a video pinned. It's called Grade Review and How To. The thumbnail has a Korokoro Mew on it. Just watch that video. It's less than 30 seconds. It tells you everything you need to know about how to submit, and we just do this live every Wednesday. So, but yeah, it's nice, Blissful. I like to just do it for the community. I don't charge anyone for it. I think it's kind of silly, to be honest. It's like, hey, like I'm gonna charge you $20 to get a card reviewed before you even get it graded. Like, stuff is already so expensive to begin with. Like, I just like doing it for fun. So if you guys like this stuff, share, like, follow, self-plug, self-promote, call it what you will, but I enjoy doing it. And the hand heart, look at Blissful coming out in the clutch. Hopefully, unfortunately, I'm not an NPC, so I don't have anything queued, but I appreciate it. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know. But yeah, just watch that video. It'll tell you the rest. And Betty should be in here too. She is a mod. She might be able to help you out too if she's still in here. Okay. So back to the Kyogre and Groudon. So the back, we do have some edge wear for sure. So top right, that's getting hit by the sun, so we can't see that. We do have some edge wear on the left. Definitely have some edge wear. I see some comments in my peripheral. I'll get to them in a second. You might have to re-ask them if I miss you. Have some edge wear in the bottom, left and right. Not too bad though. And more like on this bottom right corner, but more so there's some surface scratches here on the back. It looks like it's probably wasn't put in a sleeve right away, but then probably put in a sleeve later down the road, would be my guess. But definitely some edge wear and surface scratches. So, and then the other, I think there's another, yeah, so here is another angle, kind of like a bonus angle here. I think, if I remember, Civic, and you can correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, I think you said that this one had 2 swirls, I'm pretty sure. Try to get a picture with the 2 swirls. And honestly, this is actually pretty good, is because I see some surface scratches on the front as well. I'm kind of hovering my mouse over it. You might not be able to see it because it's kind of in the wave, being splashed by the Kyogre's armpit. But there are 2 lines there. But there is a really nice swirl on that left fin, and that might be the second one. There might be like on top of each other. There also might be one here on the neck. But all in all, really cool looking card. So the poll is live. So if you want to weigh in on what you guys think that this, if it will start. Are we going to start, or there we go. So the poll is now live. So if you want to send in what you think this card would be graded, there is the front and there is the back. I'm going, while you guys are voting, I'm going to catch up on chat. Okay. Ginger, so why are PSA 1 selling more than 2 through 6? Honestly, there are people that are just weirdos and like to collect the anti-10s. That's literally all it is. There's literally no other explanation besides people consider PSA 1s as the PSA anti-10. Civic, I 100% agree with you about, I just like sharing my old stuff because there's not a lot of people. Because that's what's kind of a bummer, right? If you really like the hobby and you don't have a chance to show this stuff off, it's kind of like, I don't know, like, I think for me, I'm right there with you. I think one of the biggest reasons why I like collecting is I like to show it off with people who also admire the cards. You know what I mean? Where, like, if you show this off to someone, like, oh, cool, like, I haven't collected Pokemon since I was a kid. Like, that's cool, you do it. But then they're, like, not enthusiastic. It kind of, like, bums you out. So it is really, it's just nice to have, like, communities like this, which is another reason why I like doing this. It's just cool to look at old cards. Because I just like looking at, like, I like the assessment of them. Like, it's cool to me to, like, help people show, like, what to look for, like, if they're ever interested in grading. But no, I'm right there with you. It's nice. And I appreciate you even showing them off. You know, you don't even have to show them off, but I love looking at people's cards. It's super fun to me. I really look forward to these. Do I also prep cards? I do, Stefan. So I do prep cards. I don't do it as a service yet. There are some plans in the works to hopefully get something like this happening, to where I would also live stream doing this on actual cards that people submit for me to, like, grade on their behalf, almost like a middleman service. But it's still in the works. I'm trying to figure all that out. Yeah, Pokey, you grading that first edition Charizard is going to be nuts. But I don't think you've submitted that. Have you? If you haven't joined the Discord, I would love to see it, because that would be sick. If you're talking about base set. If you're talking about the base set Zard, that'd be insane. But yeah, it looks like Betty pinned the comment. So definitely check that out if you guys want more info on how to submit your cards to get graded. So Betty, I appreciate that. All right, so poll is done. 7 or 6, unanimous. 7-6. Okay. So what do I think this Kyogre Groudon Legends will get? So front, centering only from the top down, because you can't do the left or right. Pretty good. Edgeware, also decent. So from this angle, which I'll show the other angle, we do, however, see some scratches here underneath the armpit. So that will impact the surface score on the front. If we flip it on the back, we do have some whitening edges on the corners, as well as the edges, as well as some surface scratches and dings. So for me, with the amount of scratches, just general surface wear, I would probably give this a 6, would be my honest opinion. So my grade would be a 6, and chat grade would be a 7 or 6. So another Kyogre. I see both the swirls, so just see what you think of the swirls. You know what? I'm gonna take a deep dive. Let's see. Let me open that up in the browser again. So you said that there's one near the claw. You got one and the other is by the nail. Brother, I cannot see it. I don't know if I'm blind or what, but I just see this one. That's the only one that I see. I don't see the other one. It might just be I'm just claw, nail, in the orange. Up here? Or no? Oh, right here. I see it. I see it. I see it. I see it. Right there. Now I'm seeing it. Everyone's like, "Where's Waldo?" of the second swirl. Did everyone find class? Did everyone find Waldo? Before I continue, did everyone have a chance to find Waldo? Good, because Waldo's gone now. That's cool though. All right, so before we get into this one, I'm just going to take a quick break. I'm just gonna grab some water. I will be right back. So don't go anywhere. I'll literally be right back in like 1 minute. So, where's my BRB? There it is. All right. I'll be right back. I promise. I promise, chat. Look at that. I beat the timer, chat. And Blissful sending me some GGs. Thank you. You guys are sick. Okay. Ginger, yeah, the lowest graded card I have is a CGC 8.5, so I judge cards off that. Yeah, so that's why I'm hoping, that's kind of the whole point of this, right? Is to kind of show some cards that might not get that, but also cards that could. So it's nice to honestly have like cards in that 7-6 range, because it's important to highlight some of the little imperfections or some of the scratches that can impact a grade. Okay, so Team Aqua's Kyogre. So, Royal, welcome. So right off the bat, right, I can see some pretty predominant scratches on the foil, but we'll get to that in a second. Edges. The centering looks decent, I think. I do see an edge ding here in the right edge there. But Ginger, I'm gonna be honest, I want to send Ginger, you would not be the first to send an anti-1. We had a deep dive. I don't know if you guys were in here before. We had a deep dive into a Swampert EX that had a really good chance of getting a 1. That thing was beat. Appy, welcome. Okay, let's see. So edges look decent besides this that I'm circling with my mouse on the right. Pretty predominant scratches on the front, in my honest opinion. The black, blue background, tongue twister and a half, is making it pretty apparent for the scratches. So I'd probably say off the rip a 6, but let's take a look in the back. Zoom in here a little bit. But yeah, I'd probably say the same thing still, because we still have some decent edge wear, decent corner dings. Again, that's that one that edge wear that we saw. Yeah, you definitely didn't submit another one, Civic, for sure. You definitely don't have more cards. But yeah, I would say, just so I can get through this here, Looks a little right heavy, you think, on the back? Yeah, you're definitely right on this right side. This right side definitely looking a lot thicker than the left. So I'd probably say for this Kyogre, since we already kind of did a deeper dive on the first Kyogre, I would probably say it's either a 6 or a 5, depending on how severe this that left ding is. Because I think if this is pretty significant, I'd probably knock it back to a 5. I'm just trying to think real quick. I'd probably say 6. I'd probably say 6 for the Kyogre. As long as that's not bad. But, okay. So next one would be, finally, Groudon, getting some love out of your Kyogre fit here. I noticed English ones are terrible centering compared to Japanese. Yeah, Japanese just had way better quality. Like, way better print quality. And for those of you who have never seen this, this is not, like what Civic's saying, it is not the Celebrations. This is not the 5-cent one. This is the actual OG Groudon. From Magma and Aqua. Have you guys, on a side note, have you guys ever seen the beta rendition of Groudon? That thing looked derpy as hell. I'll have to come up with it towards the tail end here, see if I can pull it up. But that thing looked derpy as hell. I'm glad they stuck with this design, that's for sure. Okay, so let me zoom out a little bit because that top part, perfect. Okay, so good. All right. Oh, I had to yawn. I can't remember. I was like yawning on stream last time and someone was driving. It's like the last thing I want to do is put that person to sleep and crash. All right. Centering is good. Edgeware, good. Mako, welcome. So let's take a look at the holo. Maybe some scratches here? Oh, was it you, Pokey? Yeah. Well, I'm glad. Hey, listen, my yawning did not turn out bad for you. So look at that. I'm glad you're back. So yeah, I really just think that these are some scratches, but not too bad. Okay, so the back, however, a little bit rough. Not too bad though, could be worse. Do have some pretty significant edgeware on the top, some on this left side and the bottom left. Do have something that I don't know if that could be cleaned or not, but I'm assuming it can, just for conversation piece. Exactly, Civic, right? Some dings in the bottom. This could probably be cleaned on the bottom part of the Pokeball. Edgeware, yeah, pretty apparent there. So let's see. I'd probably say for this Groudon, the front definitely looks better than the back. Top isn't too bad. The light is just making the top super shiny. Oh, gotcha. Okay, so centering looks pretty decent on this. Just a few scratches, not too bad though on the front, just from the pictures I can see. But I would definitely say if you can get rid of these specs, I would say it'd probably be a 6. If you can't, would probably be a 5, would be my honest opinion. Just because of the surface. If you can clean the surface, probably be a 6. If you can't, probably be a 5, in my opinion. All right. Before we start with the Tyrant, there's a lot of Delta species tonight. I just noticed that. There's a ton of Delta species. We had the Zard. What do we have? We had the Zard. We had the Rayquaza. The Tyranitar. Like, you guys are crushing it with the Delta species tonight. Holy. Alright. So before I continue, I'm going to take a little sip of my water here. Change the setup midway. But, yeah, thanks again, guys, for Kind of hanging out too on a Wednesday night. Do you guys like this time, by the way? Just out of curiosity. So I feel like 7, because I'm Eastern. I feel like 7 to 9 or 7 to 10 is a good sweet spot for a lot of people. And it makes it, for my schedule, it's so much easier because I work a full-time job as well. So it's nice to have like one consistent day to be a longer than a half an hour streamer. But I think this time is nice because it kind of covers a wide range for folks who are kind of like wrapping up their day and commuting home and kind of just want more of like a podcast style. Awesome, Blissful. Thanks. All right, Tyranitar EX. So right off the bat, this card is super shiny. Super. It's going to be pretty tough to find some scratches. Although I will say that I am seeing some scratches on the Tyranitar itself, like right across the snoot there. Jose, welcome. Right across the chest, definitely have some scratches there. The top to bottom's a little heavy. Left to right is pretty even. Not too bad though. Yeah, it's great. Look at this. It's like a flash. It's like the sun is staring me in the face right here. But yeah, I honestly see more scratches on the Tyranitar than I do on the Holo. So that's interesting. It's normally not like that because this Tyranitar is obviously not Holo. But and on the back again, white in corners, the top left, a little bit thicker. I don't know if it's just like an illusion for me, but this is a little bit thicker on the top than the bottom. I don't know if that's true or not, but have one there on the side, some whitening on the bottom left. So I think for this one, it's really a difference between a 6 or a 5 for me. I would probably, because there is a pretty significant amount. Oh, Pokey uploaded the Charizard. Awesome. I'm super stoked to look at that. Okay, let's see. So I'd probably say you're probably looking at a soft 6, in my opinion. But if you got a 5, I wouldn't be surprised. So I'd probably say that this would probably be a PSA 6. Another Groudon. A shiny Groudon, chat. Look at that. That's crazy looking. I always like this old school cosmic foil on the edge. This looks so cool to me. But yeah, Groudon. Centering looks pretty decent. There are some scratches here though. On the top. And on the bottom left. So scratch is pretty apparent there. Not too bad though. Not too crazy. Justin, welcome. So let's take a flip on the back. And there are definitely some edge wear and definitely some scratches that I can immediately tell on the top left. So there's that. There, scratches on the top left. Some decent edge wear on the left. A little bit of a white spot in the top right there. But I think from the angle, it's I would say that the scratches in the bottom left here is a pretty decent indicator. I'd probably give this a 6, honestly, this Groudon. Unless there's like more clustered scratches that I can't tell in the front part. But I'd probably say a 6. Because if there was a little bit worse edge wear on this right side, I'd probably say 5. But ooh. Oh, look at that Absol. I don't think I've ever seen this art. Is that weird to say? I honestly don't think I've ever seen this Absol before. Look how majestic that Absol looks. This is the worst card? This Absol looks nuts to me. It looks like it's honestly like straight from like Lion King or something. This Absol is literally on Pride Rock. Unless you get a 10, it sells for more raw. I think you mentioned that in the Discord, didn't you? Too. Yeah, we're worth more raw than in a 9. Yeah, sometimes that's apparent. Like sometimes if you get like a PSA 7, a near mint raw copy costs more than a PSA 7, which, chat, if you want my 2 cents on some hidden card tech, if you buy PSA 7s on eBay, more often than not, they're cheaper than the near mint copy. So if you're a binder collector, that's honestly the cheapest way to do it. I'm not, if you've never heard that before, I'm not kidding. Because so many people buy near mint copies on TCG Player, expecting to grade it to get a 9 or a 10. So just food for thought. Yeah, Ginger, if you, I don't know if I just blew your mind or not, but if you collect near mint raw cards, if you look up on eBay PSA 7 equivalents, more often than not, the PSA 7 will be cheaper than buying it near mint on TCG Player. Because the idea is that when you're buying near mint on TCG Player, the people that are buying them are trying to grade them expecting 10s. Whereas if you buy a PSA 7, you already know what that's going to get. It already got the 7. So there's no chance for that getting anything higher. So if you are a raw hunter or just like having a binder and not graded cards, that is a cheaper alternative. And I am not kidding when I say that. I've done that numerous times. I've bought in 7s on I've auction sniped a PSA 7, and it's been like $25, $50, $75 cheaper than if I were to buy it near mint on TCG Player. I'm not kidding. So food for thought. I don't know how many minds I just blew with that statement, but it's definitely true. Civic, a lot of 8s are cheaper than raw as well. Yeah, exactly. Because at the end of the day, they're still near mint. And that's what's really nice about TCG Player right now. I really hope that they never introduce a new category called Near Mint Plus. Because I think if they do, it's going to make things way worse than it should be. And it worsens the market, in my opinion, between grading and raw. Because people would then say, like, if they're selling a raw card, they're then going to say, oh, this would get graded as a PSA 10, therefore I'm going to sell it as though it's a PSA 10 ungraded. So that's why it's really important that TCG Player never goes above near mint. I was going off the TCG Player guide. 7s are LP probably 80% of the time. Exactly. Yep. That's one of the things I've wanted to do for some of the cards that I buy off TCG Player, just for my collection, is to say like, hey, I bought this near mint. Let's, as a collective, let's see if it's actually near mint. You know? Because some are definitely questionable. They, I wish there was like more of a standard for people to like really adhere to. And honestly, for TCG Player, I kind of wish for some cards was more of a requirement to take a picture. I got my first jumbo Japanese card in right now. No way. In the grade review, you have a jumbo card? Well, if you don't, you should definitely put it in there, because I think it'd be funny to review a jumbo card in grade review. Okay, this Absol has been majestic long enough. We're going to take a look at the Absol. Surface looks good. Corners, edges look good. Perfect. Perfect Absol. Next. Back. Is this like a spray? What is this? You can tell me what that is. I don't know if you can get rid of that from like a microfiber or not, but I don't know what that is. Because this honestly looks like, if you guys have never seen and it's honestly, I think it's in here, and I feel like I accidentally skipped it, to be honest. I did accidentally skip it. I'm sorry. Charizard farts. the Mewtwo GX in the tube, there is an error on all of them that has like this like spray white pattern in the bottom right hand corner. That's very similar. So if this is dust, like what you're saying, you can probably get rid of that. It's not that big of a deal. But this also might be, I think we've had this discussion before. I think it's just the picture. I don't think that's Edgeware on the left. Pat, welcome. But I think we're chilling. I think we're good. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I think it's like this like leather, whatever, that's like making it kind of like make it glow like that, weirdly enough. Alright, so I can catch up with chat. Here is the front of the Absol. There is the back of the Absol. So let's run a poll on what you guys think this Absol, the most majestic Giga Chad Absol, would get. There's the front, there's the back. The poll is now live, so it should pop up on your device. Alright, so let me catch up with chat while you guys are voting on the poll. Betty got her first Jumbo Japanese card, along with her 50th Gardevoir. That makes sense. Yeah, Ginger. Honestly, buying singles, there's a discussion I want to talk about in a future video on why I personally think that investing in singles is better than investing in sealed product. But I definitely agree with you for sure, Ginger. I can imagine grading jumbos is expensive because it's just like how big the slab has to be, right? It's just nuts. But yeah, definitely buying singles is the way to go for sure. I'll save that for another recon report in the future on like my opinion on like long-term investing between buying sealed product, the pros and cons of it versus buying singles. But I lean more towards buying singles to kind of give you a sneak preview. Yeah, Charizard Farts comes in with some interesting cards, that's for sure. Fun fact, the Japanese version is a 7-Eleven promo. That's insane. You know what card I really want so bad? Just because it looks so funny, is the Umbreon, is the Japanese Umbreon McDonald's promo. The one where it's like chilling on a roof and like falling asleep. Do I remember what I graded the full art Charmander? Are you talking about the one? Because it might have graded. Are you Google me, TJ? Because if you are, I think I graded that as a 9 because the centering from the right to left. But if that's not, I have the yeah. So I believe I graded that. I think we graded the Scyther because I'll upload the VOD so you can like go back and watch the full breakdown. I think the Scyther was a 5. I think the Charmander and the Squirtle were both 9s, I believe. Do you know you can... Betty, I swear, if you were the one that started that trend, I'm going to be very upset. There's so... I remember when that first started, like, people were like, oh my god, someone graded a V-Star card that was a PSA 10 and it sold for like $50. So then everyone was just like submitting all their V-Star cards. For like no, just because like one like meme sold for $50. So yes, Betty, I do remember. I do remember that very vividly. But yeah, TJ, like I said, I'll upload the VOD, and when I do, I'll send you a link to the YouTube video so you can watch it more in depth if you care enough to see it. All right, so let us end the poll. So Civic. And one other person thinking 8. Ginger thinking 8. Yeah, of course. Betty, I swear if you just send me V-Star cards, we're gonna have a talk. Okay, 8+. So what do I think this Absol would get? So the front, very clean. Centering, very good. Edges, very good. It's more of the back, so let's take a look. So this dust can probably be cleaned, so I'm going to assume that it can. This edge, I believe, is just the lighting, so I think that's good. So if we can get this dust cleaned, and this is just a light illusion, which I believe it is, there is no whitening on the corners or edges. So based off of the front and the back, I would probably say that this would be an 8. So this Absol for my grade would be an 8, and then chat grade would be an 8+. And Pokey also thinks 8 too. So next up, a reverse rare. I think the first reverse rare. Ginger. So honestly, I have a food stamp and need graded. Can they grade that with cards? Or is that different? I'm honestly, you might have to rephrase that. I'm not too sure what you're asking, Ginger. I apologize. You might need to break it down. I've been doing this for almost 2 hours now. All right. Zerk, welcome. Okay. Tyranitar. So again, for those of you who have never seen a reverse holo like this is that era where they printed the set name in the bottom right as the reverse rare. I can see what you're saying, Ginger. So like you're talking about like if you're to grade like coins or stamps, is that what you're talking about? Because like I personally have never graded a coin or currency or stamps or comic books. The only thing I've graded is small shiny cardboard. That's all I've graded. But yeah, I honestly wouldn't even know. I think PSA just bought out a coin collecting or like coin grading service probably about a year ago. But I'm honestly not too sure. I've never graded a coin or stamps or anything like that. All right, Tyranitar, Delta species. Again, another Delta species. I'm not complaining, but it seems like Delta species is all over the place tonight. Okay. So Tyranitar has a rainbow ass. Let's see. Centering, the bottom looks a little bit thicker than the top for sure. Left and right centering looks good. There is some edge wear. There is some edge scratches that I see. Some scratches by the speaker. I don't know if the Tyranitar is trying to be a metalhead or not, but there is some scratches there. CH, welcome. But all in all, this rainbow flashbang, can't really see much there. But Tyranitar just chilling in a dome in a metal concert. I don't really know what's going on there, but it's honestly just the scratches on the edges and the surface. So probably off the bat, you're probably looking at a 6 on the front. And on the back... yeah, it's tough, Civic. I can like that thing literally looked like a rainbow, like Lucky Charms flashbang. So I definitely can see how it was difficult. So top right, a little frayed. Top left, a little frayed. Not too bad on that left side. Right side, we got some. Not too bad, though. Got some surface smudges. So I would say for this one, with the amount of scratches, as well as some of the surface dings and some of the surface wear, I'd probably say I'm kind of reluctant. I don't know, 6 or 5. I'm honestly not too sure. Because from the front, from the amount of scratches, I would probably think just from like the amount of like clustered scratches, like here by by its like thorn, I guess, or its spike, as well as here, and some of the stuff on the back, I probably would say 5 would be my guess for this. Exactly, IDK. Yep, dense increases. Yep. Yeah, you're right on. Civic, that's interesting. Thanks so much for liking the live, IDK. Appreciate it. How do you like Mercari, Civic? I've been kind of playing around with the idea of going over there. I just don't know enough about it to know if it's good or not. But yeah, no, I definitely agree with IDK. Definitely a beautiful card here, rocking out in some rock-centered dome. I'm not too sure. So here's another Tyranitar. Again, exploding as a rainbow. That's what I think too, IDK. I do see some cool deals, but some of them are just like, because they always get capped. What is it like? They get capped at like 2K, like the prices or something. It always seems a little bit sketchy because like I'll always look at the descriptions and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, this isn't the actual price. Message me for the actual price." It's like, I don't know how that like. It's not that I'm like fearful or like against Mercari. I just don't know enough about it on like why they allow that stuff. Yeah, honestly, IDK. That's honestly why I really don't mess around with Marketplace for the exact same reason. I'm like a big like go to trade shows and conventions for raw cards. But that's just me. And plus I can just, you know, buy cash and stuff. But Non, welcome. Some sellers do that, host. I don't like that either. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird that it's like allowed though. You know what I mean? I don't know. Again, I just don't know enough about it. Like if there's so many that it can't be kept up, but yeah, that's why I'm still waiting for eBay because they were supposed to do something in Q3 or Q4 of last year, but I really haven't seen any change for a TCG player yet. I think my biggest, if I were to guess, like what the big change would be, I would think that picture requirements would probably be an introduction that eBay would have, or optimizing their TCG Direct service. But Lopunny, welcome. All right, so we just looked at the reverse Tyranitar from Delta Species. Now we're looking at the full. Gotcha. That makes sense. Pictures would be helpful. I think it would hold people a little bit more accountable too. Because because everyone kind of memes about TCG players, like, oh, like this Tyranitar, that would be a near mint TCG. You know what I mean? It's like having pictures, like I get for like the volume of like, so certain sellers, right, have tens of thousands of cards, and it would be a nightmare to take pictures of all of them. But that reputation of, oh, this is a TCG player near mint, like there's a reason why people think that way. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. It's just like something needs to happen for sure. All right, Tyranitar, actual holo. There's a lot more scratches on this one for sure. And that bottom part is a little bit heavier than the top. That's for sure. I'm just looking. Yeah, there's just that the whole front is just scratched beyond belief, as well as the back. You can kind of see on that left edge. If I can zoom in a little bit more. Yeah, that left edge is pretty scratched, my dude. But that is pretty aggressive, that's for sure. So, but honestly, like this thing is really just plagued with scratches. Like there's not even really that much edge wear. It's just the scratches. So while I catch up with chat, I'm going to start a poll. So there is the front of the Tyranitar, and there is the back. So a poll should now be live on your device if you want to vote on see what you guys think this card would get graded. So there is the front of the Tyranitar, and there is the back. Oh man, yeah, I don't even want to, like, I'm reading your comment now, Civic, about the Whatnot near mint. Like, Whatnot is another, like, weird opinion I have. Like, I don't really, I think it's more of just I haven't taken the time to fully understand it. But there was one video I saw months ago, and you guys have probably seen it too, where someone got a Umbreon, like a Moonbreon from an Evolving Skies box break on Whatnot, and then they just shifted the card out, like, off camera, and like replaced it with a Leafeon that was like in a different language or something. And it's like, it's just like, I don't know what how to measure that level of accountability of like, hey, like you pulled the chase that I secretly want. Let me just like hide it off camera. It's like, oh, dang, you didn't get it. Wow. Like, what is that about? You know what I mean? Oh, I'm sure. Like, they would have to. Like, if you wanted that platform to not be, like, cursed with that reputation, you'd have to ban them instantly. But, I don't know. And I also think, too, like, for me, the idea of, like, rip and shippers and, like, streaming box breaks was super popular during COVID, right? Because everyone was stuck in home and no one could get product. So their only solution was rip and shippers, box breaks, which is fine, right? But fast forward to 2024, it's like how there are so many people that still do it. I'm just so surprised that there's still enough demand for so many of those rip and shippers to still like coexist with one another. I'm just surprised that there's so many floating around. Because honestly, that's why I kind of like doing what I'm doing now. Like, I don't really like the idea. Me personally, I don't like the idea of box breaks, but I do like the idea of like doing live streams and doing more like, I wouldn't say like, because educational content isn't as popular on like TikTok or YouTube because it's just like people want the entertainment, which is fair, right? But I feel like that there's like something missing in that space that just is like, okay, if you don't have rip and shippers or if you don't have like live box breaks, what else do you have? It's like, well, you can educate people, you know, and not tell them that every card they open is a PSA 10 is going to make them able to buy a home, you know? Like, that's what I like to do. I just want to be like as transparent, kind of like cut through the BS as much as I personally can. And so that's why I do this stuff, right? It's like, I'm not going to tell you that this Tyranitar Delta species is a PSA 10 and is going to allow you to buy a new car. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. I'm kind of rambling, but yeah, Blissful, that's the key. You have to record literally everything that you open. Yeah, box breaks of old stuff I think is really important if it's done all at once. If you ever, this is my take that I really think that should be taken by anyone. If you ever see a live that is doing a box break that has already been opened, that you yourself did not witness being opened, for the love of God, do not buy into it. Because there is nothing stopping anyone from a box break when that camera goes off to weigh the packs, swap them out, do whatever they need to convince you that there's still a chance at a holo. If you like, I think a really good example of a well-run box break is PokeRev, right? He does the live stream from start to finish. You never see it cut out. He even made a video not too long ago when his live stream went out. He had a second camera on the side recording himself opening a base set box. Like, that is how you should do it. Versus if you see a person just kind of hanging out in a live stream and you've seen that box opened and you see it just chilling in the background, you have no idea if they weighed that or not after the camera went off. You have absolutely no idea. So never, ever, ever. This is as aggressive of a comment as I can possibly make. Please, if you do it for anyone, do it for me. Never buy into a box break that has already been opened by the time you get to the stream. That's it. There's no argument. Just never do it. It's not smart. All right. Anyway, I'll end the poll here. Getting off my soap. I feel like I've been stacking soapboxes tonight. All right. So the poll here is 5 or 4. So 5 to 4. Okay. So what do I think this Tyranitar Delta species will get? So centering is a little bit thicker on the bottom than it is on the top. Edges look good. There's a lot of scratches on the front, I'm not gonna lie. A lot on both the hollow and non-hollow. So if we flip it over, pretty much the exact same thing. Really, it's less edge wear and more surface scratches and just scratches all around. So I think just from the amount of scratches and how close together they are, I would probably say a 5 in my opinion. So my grade would be a 5, and then chat grade would be a 5 and 4.